Kalimera, kalispera, kalinikta, no matter where in this wild, wacky, and this weekend wonderful world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It's a new week. It's a blank canvas. Let's paint pictures. Let's tell stories. And is the Arsenal's still waiting to be written this season? It's not over yet, people! Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. That woke you up. It's usually Super Kev waking us up with his videos, looking as young as ever, my podcast brother from another mother. There was nothing sticky about the toffees tonight either. Welcome, Super Kevin Campbell. Oh, bosh.
Squaddies, good to see ya. Good to be back on Monday Madness. At ease. We've got a lot to clear up. All the best. Come on.
We certainly do. And can I just say, before I welcome our regulars and those who have joined us, Kev, season has to end because I can't wear this hat anymore. I just cannot wear this hat anymore. I took it off once.
Take it off. It's all right.
Well, not now.
Take it off. It's all right.
No, it's not, Kev. It's not all right. And we're going to talk about why it might not be all right, but
it's
why
all right. Telling you.
All right, here we go. Good evening to John Mavrodis, Yasu John, to all my fellow Greeks in the chat. Yasas de Gana del Piso Galana Isaste. We're going to have fun tonight. We've got Tammy, our chief like officer, in the house. We got Matty K, our little legend here. We've got Trev. We've got Lynn. We've got Demsek. We've got Mark. We've got Amira. We've got Guna Works. We have Ian here as well. We've got Matthew Hudson, Super Kev, basically PW's here. Everybody is here, and Viju is happy to be on time today. Well done, Vij. Welcome. Kev, can I just start by talking about Everton? Because let me tell you something. Football is weird. You and I said last week, it's not over mathematically. For some, it might be over mentally. Who saw this coming? Excuse me, who the man or woman who had the bet for Everton be up at 3-0 at halftime. Wow, Super Kev. Wow.
This game, Sophie, it never ceases to amaze us. And you know what? Just when you think it's all done and dusted, today happens. I mean, it was incredible. It really was incredible. I'm so, you know where Everton are in my heart. So, you know, I have Arsenal, obviously. Arsenal are like my oxygen, but I do love Everton as well. And being a captain and seeing what's happening at the club, I do feel for them. But I never saw that happening. It's great to see a game plan come together. That's what it was. We've seen it with other teams, but Everton's game plan, I think, against Leicester last week started to come together. Didn't quite get it right at times, but this week they got it right. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin played his part as the lone striker. But Sophie, when you get your chances, you have to take them. And Everton, I think it's the first time I've ever said it this season, so Everton were clinical, Sophie. They were clinical today. 5 goals, amazing.
Wow. Did they peak too soon, Kev? Because we kind of wanted this Everton when they played City, but talk to me as a player when you
too
put
soon.
This.
So there's 3 games left. No, they've not peaked soon enough, Sophie. Listen, with this teams getting big results away from home. We spoke about Arsenal going away, getting big results. But it's the teams down at the bottom. Everton's away record is horrid. They needed a big result. I didn't see this one coming, especially after Brighton beating Manchester United in the week. I didn't see this. I thought it was going to be a lot tougher. But 5-1 South, their tails are going to be up. and Goodison will be rocking for the Man City game, I tell you.
It certainly will. Let me tell you, because I alleviated a lot of fears over the weekend, and I'm going to explain to Kev exactly what I articulated to him or tried to on WhatsApp. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, okay, so now we play Brighton next, a wounded animal, Kev. But I can't splice it every which way every week, because if we tried to do that, we literally would have driven ourselves mad this entire Premier League season. It's been so nuts. But my goodness, Everton today proving again it's never over until it's over. Until the maths is impossible, it is not over, which leads me to our boys. Now, you're wearing a fantastic T-shirt, which is getting a lot of love from the squaddies in chat, Mr. Prince, who made doves cry once or twice. We made magpies cry this weekend, Mr. Kevin Campbell. A lot of folks didn't believe the Arsenal could get a result. In fact, many were thinking we'd get humiliated. And actually, some were looking forward to perhaps a Tottenham Hotspur type 5-0 at the 25th minute mark. But it wasn't to be. After a first maybe dodgy 8 to 10 minutes, Arsenal Football Club came of age, I think, up on Tyneside this weekend. Give me your initial thoughts, Kev. Some of the pre-game rubbish that was being spoken of. I had my fears. There's no doubt about that. I would have been happy with a draw. Talk to me about it, Kev.
Yeah, I done a piece with Geordie Pete Redding, as you know. Me and him would do some work together. And I said Arsenal will win the game 2-1. I says it will be a tough game. I said, but the key to it is, can Arsenal deal, one, with the physicality, two, with that crowd, because the crowd do get behind them very well, and three, can Arsenal take their chances, Soph, when they come? Because we will get chances, but if we don't take our chances, Newcastle then start to get relentless. They keep coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. And you're right, Soph. I think it was a definite growth. We saw growth in our younger players because, Sophie, let's be honest, Newcastle are a big physical side, and they challenged us at every aspect. They were putting their bodies into us. They were knocking us down. They were causing all sorts of arguments to try and dominate us.
Mm-hmm.
They done it last year, Sophie. They done it last year, and they wiped the floor with us. But I heard before the game at the hotel, Mikel Arteta showed them the video of last year, and apparently didn't really say too much after that. So that means I'll leave it to you guys. I haven't got to say much. Look what they done to you last year. It's either you lay down or you fight like hell. Punch them in the mouth. And I've got to say, Sophie, really big move Jorginho played. Because let me tell you something. It goes one of two ways, Sophie. If we get overrun in midfield, what is the manager doing that people are going to say? They're going to question. They're going to cuss. They're going to say, well, you can't play him because he's not mobile. He's not this, he's not that. But one thing we do know, Sophie, Jorginho can play key passes between the lines to expose Newcastle. But we had to be brave, and that's what we done. We were brave. We had to weather a storm. Away from home, that's what you have to do. But you know what? Really proud of the players. And I'm sure we're going to get to Kivior beside Gabriel.
We are.
I remember many people saying that he weren't good enough. Do you remember when he played in what is it, the Europa? He weren't good enough, so.
Kivior.
And then coming on at Liverpool. What's he doing coming on at Liverpool? You know,
Yeah, he had a nightmare there, to be fair, and he had a nightmare in the
he
Europa League. To
didn't.
be fair, Kev, he did. He did.
No, he
There
didn't.
was
He didn't have a nightmare against Liverpool. He didn't.
when he came on, he looked a bit lost to bring him on in that
No, he
game. He looked.
didn't. He didn't. He didn't. We were under the pump.
Yes. And it was
We were under
questionable to bring a
pressure.
player like him. Okay, so with what you're saying, Super Kev, because you're escalating the 5 points for tonight, and I like it. Let's get stuck right into it. Let's not beat around
Come
the
on then,
bush
let's
here.
go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All the
Let's
things
go.
you're talking about, the players being brave. So my number one question to you tonight, and you know as well as I do, the messages we exchange, a masterclass for like 80 minutes in that match, schooling Newcastle United, who have been the media darlings all season. Quietening that crowd up north is not easy at all. And we did all of those things. But, Super Kevin Campbell, you talked about the players being brave. Should our manager have been braver earlier? You talk about Kivior coming on at Liverpool and you're giving him a pat on the back right now. Fantastic. Should he have rolled the dice with Kivior earlier instead of playing Rob Holding?
No. Because
Should
everyone says that now, but they weren't saying it then. And this is where hindsight is the killer. And we should never get into it. Now we're here down the line. Everyone does. Well, why didn't you do? No. It doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. So
tell me how it works, Kev.
Well, it works that the manager has to pick who he feels can do the job. And Rob Holding has come in and done the job usually pretty well. We know he's not the answer, but listen, he's come in. There were times where we won games. There were times where we weren't as fortunate. But no, not necessarily. Because as you say, and many people say, Kivior had a nightmare in the Europa League, and he's finding his feet, but I just think Rob Holding he suffered with his confidence, So manager said, right, I'm gonna stick you in, Kivior. He looks the part, and he's playing on the wrong side, which is hard to do.
Well, I think, and I've said this to you, and you've always mentioned to me that Arteta would never want to play two left-footed centre-backs. And I said, okay, I'm going to forgive him if that's the reason.
I never said he would never want to. I said I've never seen it.
Right, but you also said that maybe that presents a problem with how he wants to play, that he may not feel 100% confident on having two lefties playing his back line, right, Kev? Fair,
yeah,
which is fair.
100%.
Right? Two left footers I can understand why he was hesitant and stuff, right? But knowing what he has seen before, i.e., Mikel's been brilliant, but he trusted Willian too long. He trusted Mustafi too long. He trusted Kolasinac. He trusted Lacazette.
Sophie,
he trusted. Wait. Let me finish. Let me finish a minute, Kev. He trusted Aubameyang too long. He keeps faith and he wants to give players the benefit of the doubt. And I think that as smart as he is, Super Kev, all right, and now he wants to be brave at this point in the season, and I like that. But why, knowing what Rob Holding has been or who he is to the squad, why not have played Kivior earlier? You just alluded to the fact that he came on at Liverpool and in your minds did a good job.
No, I said we were under the pump. Hold on. I said we were under the pump. You said he had a nightmare. He didn't. But we were under the cosh.
In Europa League, I'll correct myself. In the Europa League, I thought he and Saliba had nothing together. It was a nightmare. I think everyone would agree.
Saliba went off after 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know, but there was no cohesion. There was no confidence at the back.
It's the first time they've played together,
That's what I'm saying. So that's
but the sample size is 20 minutes with Saliba.
No, but okay, hold on a second. You're crediting Kivior for his cameo role against Liverpool.
I said he came on at Liverpool. You said he had a nightmare. I said he didn't. I said we were under the cosh. That's what I said. I didn't say he done fantastically well.
It sounded like you were questioning Arsenal fans who questioned him. Okay. Can we agree, however, in a time where confidence was low, where we needed an X factor, where we've seen the movie from last season, could Mikel Arteta have been a little braver sooner, not only with Rob Holding and Kivior, but with Zinchenko and Tierney and also Partey and Jorginho? They all had 4 stinkers back to back to back to back. Holding, I would actually say, did not have a stinker as bad as Zinchenko and as bad as Partey had in their last 3 games. But could Mikel have been a bit braver, adding this fresh energy and adding maybe the extra dimension that Tierney brings defensively and Jorginho's tempo and ball control, Kev, being able to kind of manage games in a different way when we needed it?
Listen, just like anything, we talk like that now. But at the time, no, it doesn't work like that. You go with your best team. You go with the team that's got you where you've been. That's the best you can do. You go with the team that's got you where you are. Now, people keep going on about Tierney. We all know Tierney's a better defender than Zinchenko. Everybody knows that. The problem is, Sophie, he's not better on the ball. Now, a lot of those games where you say we've had stinkers, I don't think we have a lot of the time had stinkers.
No, the players, not the team collectively. The players.
But he's been a key part of what we do, which is why we go 1-0, 2-0 up at Anfield. Because he adds the extra body in the midfield. That's what's got us to where we are now. I totally loved Tierney coming on yesterday because it was more a straight 1v1. He can defend.
Mm-hmm.
We're fine there. We didn't need to push too much. I get that, but I'm not gonna throw Zinchenko under the bus. I know he struggles defensively, Sophie. Yes, I agree with you, but he's been one of the key reasons why we actually are where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the balance that you have to weigh up, Soph. Could Tierney play some of the games and Zinchenko be on the bench? Yeah, but we might not have been as potent offensively. Why? Because we won't dominate the ball as much. So I don't know what the result would have been if Kieran Tierney would have played. I have no idea. But the fact of the matter is, Zinchenko, Partey, as you mentioned, there's a few of our players who levels have dropped. So yes, their levels have dropped. And if you get 1 or 2 dropping in certain games, fine. But it seems like the level has dropped altogether. So fair play to the manager. He wants to freshen things up, so he's put Kivior in. He's put Jorginho in. You know, he's made changes. And look, that game against Newcastle was the massive tick in the box. Because let's be honest, Soph, you ain't going many places. Anfield is one. Now Newcastle away with their physicality is another place where you've got to be a man there. You can't be a young boy. You've got to be a man. You've got to stand up for yourself. Because if you take a backward step, they will trample all over you. And that's what we done. We stood up. So Kieran Tierney coming on looked great yesterday.
Yep.
But we were already in the ascendancy. We were already in the lead. If you understand what I mean. We had something to hold on to. So, again, I don't know if Kieran Tierney starts. Do we play the football to cut through them like we did? I don't know. But it's got us to this point, so.
Yes. And they have got us to this point. And I totally understand all of that. But I think one of the areas of growth and, you know, when we talk about even Mikel Arteta evolving as a manager and growing as a manager, he's shown this ruthlessness. And I love it. You know, how he handled Aubameyang, how he removed and convinced the owner and Adu to remove players, even though we were going to give them away for nothing. What I'm saying is that I think maybe, Kev, until he has those extra players, he has to trust in what he has even still now a little bit more. For example, he trusted Fabio Vieira. Fabio Vieira has not featured at all since his last awful game. This is also what I like about Mikel. If you don't deliver for him after he does give you a few chances, he cuts you. However, I just think that with his own personal growth, Kev, having that ruthlessness, even if you have a good game, maybe that comes with winning as a manager, because that's his next level. Like Pep could cut Kevin De Bruyne and no one would question it because Kevin De Bruyne has won everything. Pep's won everything. He knows how to win when he gets to a certain point. I think Saka is a player to show that ultimate ruthlessness to really, I think Trossard should have played ahead of Saka. I think Saka's been really terrible the last 3 or 4 games. With that same token though, Kev, we wouldn't be here without him. However, I respect that. But to get across the line, you may have to be ruthless even with Saka to get us to the promised land. Is that fair?
Well, I suppose so. I mean, listen, you could look at it 2 ways, Soph. You could look at it 2 ways, that what Trossard brings and what Saka brings, especially against Newcastle, they're different traits.
Mm-hmm.
Saka really, he should have scored yesterday when he got played through. Trossard doesn't offer you that. You know, where you can come off the line and run in, and you can get a through ball and you're 1v1, run away from the defense. So you have to game plan for a team like Newcastle. I'm not saying Trossard couldn't start because he's a good player. He could start. He could have started on the left. He could have started on the right, and he could start at centre forward. He's good enough. But I think when you game plan for certain teams like Newcastle, playing in front of them won't cut it. You have to be able to penetrate them. And that's what we done. We played through them, and that's how we got our joy. So Trossard came on, but again, because Saka offers speed and he's willing to run and he's got the speed to run in behind, I think that causes Newcastle a massive problem. But not saying that Trossard couldn't start. He could. But I just think the game plan was to play through Newcastle.
So playing through, we really did have so much joy going through the middle and then exploiting the flanks. So much we see everything that builds from the back goes through our wide players. Why wouldn't it, right, Kev, when you have Saka and Martinelli? So help me understand this one too, because and there's a couple of people in the chat saying we won. Yes, we won. I want to go I want to go
it.
Exactly. I want to go next level winning now, guys. So stick with me here, right? Because what I saw yesterday was masterful from Mikel and brave, and our players overcame this mental moment, which we'll get to eventually. So, Kev, a lot of fans were thinking, and pundits were like, Thomas Partey is the engine, the machine that you're going to need in the middle to beat a Newcastle. Help me understand this when fans talk about Jorginho being so slow, but yet a team has to control the tempo of a game in moments, right? We've great midfielders like Jorginho's traits. They just dictate the tempo of a game. They're the master of it. How is it works against a Newcastle and maybe Mikel was resistant to try that against, I don't know, a Brighton or a Tottenham or someone? What explains that part to me a little bit?
But we beat Brighton and we beat Tottenham with Thomas Partey there.
We did.
But my point is this. So I'm answering your question. Because Thomas Partey's levels dropped, because we know he's our engine. He is our engine. He's been our engine for probably, 32 games or 30 games or whatever. He's been very good. Yeah, his levels dropped off. It can happen, Sophie. But when you put Jorginho in there, you don't have the athleticism, so you have to do things in a different way. You have to be able to, other people have to be able to stop the physicality of Newcastle overrunning us in midfield. And if we're honest, Sophie, we saw some of that early on against Newcastle where we were getting overrun a bit in midfield. But the key to it is as long as they don't hurt us, when we do turn the ball over or we do regain the ball, we have to be able to play through them and hurt them. And that's where Jorginho comes into his own. He's excellent at it. His ball control, his mind, his quality, it really does hurt the opposition. So that's what we saw. We saw them trying to impose their style on us. But because we got Jorginho in there, we want Jorginho to impose, and Ødegaard as well, to impose their style on them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the battle, Soph. That's top level football. Can you impose your game on the opposition?
Mm-hmm.
Can they then stop you and impose their physicality? And you saw what they were like. They were getting stuck into us. They didn't like us playing through them. And when we did play through them, so Martinelli coming off the left, 1v1. Saka coming off the right, 1v1. Ødegaard, 1v1. Martinelli going down the line. This is what happened. This is where we can be devastating. But we got to do it at speed.
Mm-hmm.
And we were lucky enough and brave enough to impose our passing style on them.
Excellent, Kev.
We couldn't do it last year, Soph.
No, we couldn't.
We didn't have the players. This year we had the players to be able to, one, stand up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Two, have that mentality, that brave mentality. We're going to get it down and we're going to pass it. And three, take our chances.
Yes, and thanks, and Kev, I love that because I find this discussion of our midfield, because when we did the show with Tom about spend, stick, sell and stuff, we were talking about why not get Rice and Caicedo? Why not have a midfield of Ødegaard, Partey, Rice, Caicedo, and Jorginho? Why not?
Get them all in. Get them all in, Sophie, because you know what? It's that what's costing us right now. Because, Sophie, no disrespect, we can't keep people fresh.
No, and we don't have that intensity of Champions League football and being in the FA Cup still at this point. Of course, the League Cup comes earlier in the season, but 100%. And it's the Jorginhos of the world that, even though I said if he goes off at the end of the season and he delivers for this season and we do good things, he can go. But then when you think about the Champions League and having a player like him who can come on or control the tempo of a game if you need in the second half, it's going to take having players like him in addition to an exciting new signings, potentially like these two, if we can go after them and get them, Super Kev, as well. 300 of you listening to us in live chat this fine Monday. Super Kev, I wanted to just stick on Jorginho for just a little bit because it's important that we credit our players when they play well. Touches, assists, successful passes received from the back line, possession won, clearances. I have another technical question for you here, Kev, before I let the squaddies get stuck in with some stuff too. Because if you look at Jorginho's numbers, and he was player of the match, and he's got his touches here too, and they talk about possessions won, assists for Ødegaard, etc. And then you throw in the emergence of, Kivior in the team in this game in particular. I think we both agreed that against Chelsea, it was difficult to judge a lot of our players because Chelsea was just so bad.
This was the big test, yeah.
Which, by the way, Kev, Chelsea could have a massive say in what happens for the rest of the season.
They can actually, can't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Was Jorginho able to do what he does? Did Kivior give us a little bit of the Saliba effect, i.e., was he able, in your eyes, to take the ball, turn, move the ball a little before passing, open spaces, less of the bruiser that we know that he can also be, right? But maybe we saw a little bit more of that technical part open up. Is that why we were able to kind of do what we did through the middle as well, Kev?
Yeah, it's a great point, 100%. But it's not only that. I think the fact is Kivior is happy to push tight higher up the pitch. Our line withholding is worried about speed. Kivior can push up and push tighter. We can be 5-10 yards further up the pitch at times. So that makes a huge difference, because if Jorginho's getting the ball outside our own box, Soph, it's very difficult for him to thread balls into dangerous areas, because Newcastle would be kind of higher up the pitch as well. But when you're nearer the halfway line and you're getting the ball, when you see him slip balls into Xhaka and Xhaka can turn and then play it through, it moves quicker. It moves quicker because Newcastle can't get there. But when you're nearer your box, Newcastle are going, go on. They're coming hunting us. So I just think because Kivior is quicker and he's happy to mark tight, higher up the pitch, Gabriel loves it because Gabriel's got legs, he can run. So he don't mind about that. That pushes us 10 yards further up the pitch. So Jorginho's making the difference higher up the pitch as opposed to further back.
Yeah. Yeah. He loves, and this is a lot of the times we're sometimes debating and arguing as fans. I want this guy to start. I want that guy to start. But when we look deeper and we think ahead, and as fans, we all know we need a squad. And the beauty and the jealousy of what happened against City was they can take off a player and they'll bring on Mahrez or Grealish or Foden or, Alvarez or whoever. And I think what we're seeing is sometimes it's hard because we love our players and we've relied on specific players over and over again for so long that it's going to be okay for us to kind of shift here. And in order to build a team, Kev, that can be competitive. And like you said, durability is massive.
So are you saying what I've been saying, that there's going to be a ruthless summer?
Yes, there's going to be a ruthless summer.
There's going to be a ruthless summer. Sorry, there has to be. Because you know what, Sophie? Whether we win it or not, this season has proven to us, everyone, this season has proven that we are close. We have been so close.
Sorry, Kev.
No, I'm just saying, this season has proven we have been so close. If we win it, this season has proven we can do it. Whether we're close, whether we do it. But the demands next season because of Champions League kick on. And what does that say? If we're going to be a top team, we've got to be challenging on all fronts, right? So we need the squad to be able to challenge. We've got to be able to keep people fresh, just like Man City do. First half of the season, De Bruyne's on the bench at times. This is the way Pep does it. So everybody's fit come virtually the end of the season. Everybody's up to speed. Because, Soph, everybody gets a game in the big games. Because you're constantly playing big games. And this is where, because of Europa, Soph, some players won't play until the Europa League. And then, maybe one cup. All of a sudden, there's a cup game, and they'll play one game. Now, when there's Champions League, when there's Premier League, when there's cups, you're going to have to rotate that squad because you can't burn everybody out.
No, you can't.
That's why we need a ruthless summer.
Definitely. And a ruthless summer is what Kev said. And if you missed the show that we did with Tom, I was super ruthless. I had a jog on segment where I even had Xhaka in the jog on segment, only because we're talking about moving on and planning ahead and being ruthless and stuff, right? So, but there's an argument, like I just said, for the Xhakas and the Jorginhos to stay, especially any excuse for me to put up this picture, Super Kev, and Tierney. You've said it all along too. There's room for Kieran Tierney. He's still important. I can't believe Mikel doesn't believe in him anymore. And I refuse to believe that when, I don't know, his position especially, the inverted winger, the inverted position that Zinchenko plays, Kev, do you think that Mikel has found out that maybe through his education too, he can't do that every game?
Yeah, I think he knows he can't. And especially next season, he won't be able to do that all the time. Here's the problem, though, Soph. We have to win. We're going to win. Kieran Tierney's he's a much better defender than Zinchenko. We've agreed on that. But the key is we've got to win. If we get ourselves into winning position, fair enough, we could bring Kieran Tierney on. But we've got to get playing them and get into that winning position first.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think he sees Kieran Tierney doing what Zinchenko does. And that's the issue.
Yeah.
As a left back, up and down, Kieran Tierney's as good as there is in the Premier League, 100%. But unfortunately, the way we are set up as an attacking side, Zinchenko knows how to play that with his eyes closed. Yeah, he hasn't been himself, Solve, and he hasn't played great, but he still gets us going.
Yeah.
So, it's a difficult one. I think Kieran Tierney, I think the club should keep him because we've seen injuries for Zinchenko earlier on in the season, etc. Kieran Tierney does have a part to play at Arsenal. I do believe that because next season there is some huge games.
There are. And look, I know we fell in love with Zinchenko, and rightly so. He's been brilliant. And like Kev said, he's so important to this point. But this is where I believe the manager really evolves and grows into his own too. And sometimes people take the piss out of Pep. He has over-tinkered in the Champions League to the point where it's cost Manchester City. We saw Mikel playing Xhaka at left back. That was through desperation, I'm sure. Now you're seeing when he has his own players, he's very certain about how he wants to play. But if you want to win, you also have to be adaptable. And that's why in the title of the show today, I asked, could Mikel have been braver earlier? And I think, yes, in some ways, and in other ways, perhaps playing it safe when you are 8 points clear is also super understandable, going with what you know. Kev, I got to get to another player as well. Two players, actually. I found this picture online. I don't know who did it, but if we can find the person who did. Are you not entertained? Listen, someone just put up, I wanted Xhaka
was saying
out.
that to the Toon Army yesterday, wasn't he?
Let me tell you something. I long defended Xhaka before even Super Kev on this one, and Kev will back me up. And then when he got sent off against City after we lost like 500-0 that was it for me. But listen, everybody this season is surprised and shocked by Xhaka. Kev, there was a moment in the game where he made, that tackle against Willock. That's as good as a goal, Kev. Talk to me.
100%. And I don't know if anyone's seen the track. They've tracked him from the opposition half. So Newcastle are on the break, and they've circled him. And he tracks all the way back. And then Willock is just about to put it in. You could see him shaping to put it in. And Granit Xhaka makes an incredible that was an incredible tackle. That's a goal. So that 100%. Is a goal. And if they score that, it becomes very difficult for us. I think at the time, was it 2-0 or 1-0? Whatever it was. But it becomes a very, very difficult game for us. So, again, Sophie, yes, it's his job. It is his job because he's a midfielder up and down. But you still give quality props for that last-ditch tackle to save our bacon because that was a surefire goal.
It was an amazing tackle, and there are moments in games, and I think as good as we were yesterday, there were just some pivotal moments, and you just say to yourself, Newcastle hitting the bar. That's twice now. I mean, we'll get to that at the end, though, Kev. We'll get to that at the end. I'm going to save that bit for the end for sure. So our gladiator, Xhaka, I have to put that up one more time. I don't know who did this. So find them.
He was battling Joe Linton. He was battling Bruno. He was battling everybody in the midfield.
Joe Linton is a strong Wow, that
He's a
dude.
big, imposing, aggressive midfielder.
I wouldn't want to run into him if I'm a player, like, even if I'm just walking. He is a beast, and what a player he's been this season. Listen, this Newcastle team, I wanna get onto this now after I do this last player, in terms of the overall performance, but we cannot talk about players and the impact they've had without talking about this guy. Look, some people just want to focus on a goalkeeper when they make mistakes. But I think you'll find people that Aaron Ramsdale, Rambo 2.0, saves this season. And what he has done for our football club has far outweighed any mistake that he made that he would never do, given 100 chances to rectify it. Kev, the save with his foot, he did it against Tottenham away, and that was a pivotal moment as well in the game. Talk to me about, we did a show with Mike from You Are My Arsenal. Why is Aaron Ramsdale so important to this club? My goodness, he was brilliant yesterday, wasn't he?
He was brilliant, and super saves, Sophie, super saves at the right time, and his kicking was good, his handling was good, and I mean, there was one where it could have been easy, where Shaw had a free header in the
Yes.
center of the box. It could have been easy for a goalkeeper to make a mistake. Still got to get down, still got to save it. He done that perfectly. Ramsdale, listen, we've rightly so, Sophie. We've shouted him out when he's made mistakes and when he's
100.
got us a little bit nervy. Yeah, that's what we do, and we tell it like we see it. But Ramsdale has been one of our most important players. Big game at Anfield. We said without him, we lose that game. And he made some really, really important saves to ensure we took those 3 points yesterday.
Yeah.
Really big saves. And you know what? Props to him, because it's not it's not easy playing for Arsenal with that cannon on your chest. It's not easy, especially when you've made a mistake or whatever, and it looks like people can come after you. Oh, you cost us or whatever. You still got to be brave. You still got to be big, and you still got to go out there and earn your bread. And he earned his bread today. I thought he
Well
was
said.
brilliant.
Well said, Kev. Beautifully put. Just a brilliant game. And of course, there's a reason why he's the thumbnail of the show. There are moments for Arsenal players who put in performances. There are also moments for Arsenal players who are captain who put in performances. The hairs on the back of my head just went up, because I tell you something, I could single-handedly see Ødegaard take every player and put him on his left shoulder and his right shoulder yesterday. I was absolutely amazed by his bravery and his courage to not hide and risk everything, I thought, yesterday, Kev. And he should be putting in that performance. He should be having those moments. What a player. My cousin George called me. I know you like my little anecdotes. He goes, Soph, we actually convinced Real Madrid to sell this player to us for 30 something million. And he just put the phone down. Kev, talk to me about captain, oh my captain.
So there was a moment in the first half where Ødegaard and Joe Linton went into a challenge, and Joe Linton was his imposing self, and Ødegaard stood there, and I think Ødegaard said to him, "So I'm going to show you. I'm going to, you're giving it the big one. I'm going to show you, because you know what, Sophie, you know the saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat." And yeah, you might be bigger than me and physically more imposing than me, but I've got the touch and I've got the quality. And that's what I'm going to use to unhinge you. And we had those type of players in midfield, especially Jorginho with Ødegaard. Obviously, Xhaka, he's a workhorse. He's got the quality on the ball as well. So he's more the physical guy. But Ødegaard, I thought, was brilliant. Getting on the ball, playing little balls, getting it back. Being that player who uses his talent to move Newcastle around where they don't want to go. He gets into pockets. Is he your man or is he my man? Nobody knows. Then they rush him and then he moves the ball quickly. That's how we unhinged Newcastle yesterday. And you know what, Sophie? What a strike. We said it first game of the season. Do you remember Crystal Palace away? We were kicking off. We said, Ødegaard, you're captain. You've got to shoot more. I think he's been watching the Highbury Squad, Sophie. Because you know what, Sophie? 15 goals from a central midfield player.
It's amazing.
15. That's incredible. That's incredible. How many midfielders have scored in the Premier League more than Ødegaard has? That would be an interesting one. Squaddies.
I don't think. Well, we've got 4 in Ødegaard, Jesus, Saka, and Martinelli. We're the only team that have 4 in double figures. I think Messi and one other have 15. But yeah, he's at, dare we say, Cesc levels. He's at levels. Lampard levels is what Martin's saying. But listen, we have been waiting. Kev, you said it 2 seasons ago on this show. He's like, when are we going to live in a time where Arsenal midfielders get goals again? You know? And
that's a massive difference.
Massive difference. And when we were so reliant on Aubameyang and Lacazette, and Pepe couldn't quite get there. What would you say about the miss that the opportunity he missed right before to make it 3, Kev?
Where he's worked it onto his right foot. It's his wrong foot. But you expect... Listen, he made the goalkeeper work, but you want to be able to finish those. Maybe a little bit more composure. And you know what? Sometimes, because he's so left-footed, the right foot don't function as well as the other one. So
no,
Pope
was amazing though too yesterday. Credit to Pope.
He makes let's be honest, Soph. If it weren't for Pope, the score could have been 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
It was we had some really great chances which Pope dealt with pretty well.
Yeah,
so
he did.
Listen, Ødegaard getting in there was great. I was just thinking 2-0 before half-time, that will do us. But Pope come out and saved it. So
he did.
He had to save it. It's not as if he missed the target, and it's on his wrong foot, and we won. So I'm not gonna jump on Ødegaard so much.
Yeah, I mean, if we hadn't won, maybe it would be different. But also, the same credit we gave to Rambo for his leg save, Nick Pope deserves just as much credit. I mean, he was great. The goalkeepers were superb yesterday, and both of them, you could argue, maybe deserve a shot ahead of Pickford. Listen, it's over. There's 330 of you in live chat. It's been a while since we've seen the Vinster. Do it.
Come on.
Super Kev on tonight.
Smash it, rock the neck and hit that like button. Come on, no messing about. Bank holiday Monday over here. Go and do it. Slide it in the corner. Nice and easy.
Exactly. Smash the likes up, NSW. Well said. Okay. Get a few questions in. We've got a few minutes left here with Super Kev. We're going to get his thoughts on a couple other bits and bobs as well. Kev, how did the gaffer do yesterday? For me, I'll just riff off you here a little bit, but I thought that this was one of Mikel's best, actually. I thought that he handled the occasion brilliantly. And one of the things that I think is important for us to point out is how he managed the team ahead of the game. A lot of the times we talk about in-game management, the team he picks, how the team perform. But to get this team mentally prepared after coming under siege for their mental behavior, including by people like me, and I think that it's been our Achilles heel of the last few seasons. Super Kev, he was brilliant yesterday. I thought he managed the subs great. I thought he was brave in his selection. And I think he took people by surprise when everyone was expecting us to fail up at Newcastle. What about the gaffer for you?
Yeah, I thought the gaffer was excellent. I think the game plan, I think that's really important what the game plan was. We do not have the athleticism in midfield that Newcastle have. But there's, as I said earlier on, there's more than one way to skin a cat. What we've got to do is we've got to utilize our strengths to nullify their athleticism. And that's what we've done. With good play, good passing, quick passing, we could play between the lines, and we could get at their back four, because we know Shah and Botman are not the quickest. They're strong defenders, but they're not the quickest. And we utilised using the football very well, with Zinchenko coming into midfield, using it really quick, getting the ball and getting our head up quickly and playing through them, hurting them. That was our game plan. Yeah, it was a bit rocky at the start, but Newcastle tried to blitz everybody. And they gave us a tough game at the start. But as soon as we found our feet, we started to pick them apart. And, 2-0 could have been 6, but it could also have been like 3-2. So game plan was great. Substitutions were great. We done what we needed to do, especially at a place that held such a bad taste in our mouth after last year.
Yeah, look
and
at this
I love
picture.
this picture, by the way.
Too.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. After he just roasted them down the line, and Shah put it in his own net. Fantastic, Martin. Again, that's all part of the growing up, Soph. These young boys are now young men, standing up to Newcastle away and winning after getting battered there last year. Because we did. We got battered there last year.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Cannon Wilson, all them, they were getting physical with us. Isaac, everybody was getting physical. Trippier, we stood up. And we beat them. Love it.
Very well put, Kev. Nicely said. Okay, I've got a few. Listen, we've got a few quick fire questions for Kev, but I wanted to put this comment up for you, Kev, from Robert Siegel. Wow. Just speaking with my longtime Everton friend. He lost his brother 2 weeks ago very suddenly. He's in tears tonight with sadness and joy. He so wants to beat City and for us to win the league. That's a lovely message.
Deepest condolences.
Yes, Robert, please send on our love. And lots of love for Jorginho from Lynn. Lots of love for Jorginho from Wesbird and Amira. I saved all of your comments, guys. There's so many of them to put them up. But this is a general question for you, Kev. How many bad games does a player have to have before you make changes? I wanted to get your quick take on that.
Oh, it depends. That depends. Because sometimes you can carry a player. There were times earlier on in the season where certain players were having bad games, but we were winning. Winning cures it. So the amount of games to the manager. So this one, you have one bad game and you're out.
Super Kev, it's a question from everybody, so I'm just going to try and summarize it. I think Marcus put it up. I have Marcus's, but he asked, and everyone is, do you change anything for the next game? Does Tierney come in for Zinni? Does Zinni start? How do you see it?
No, but again, I think Zinni starts because we've got to get ourselves in front. I think Kieran Tierney then can come on to shore it up. Unfortunately, I don't think we're the same attacking force when Kieran Tierney plays. I don't. We're maybe better defensively, but we're not as proficient and efficient going forward. So again, I think Zinni starts. I do, because we've got to get ourselves. You see, people just look at, Zinchenko's not a good defender. No, but you got to look at how do we get ahead? How do we play against the opposition? It's a difficult one, but I do believe Zinchenko, if he starts against Newcastle, he'll start next game, as far as I'm concerned.
So for you, no matter what, even like with Brighton coming up, who, let's be honest, their attacking front three calls every team issues today was an anomaly. I don't think they're going to have as bad a game. We hope they do next week.
But you got to beat
you're
them,
saying,
so.
Yeah, you'll start. You're always willing to start with what could get us off with the best start, and then bring in the protection. It's kind of like the brothers who go out for a drink, and one is just better with words to bring in the girls, and one closes, and you're off to the races.
And one's the designated driver.
One's a designated driver.
Yeah. One's the protection that way. I'll make sure you get home.
Exactly.
I just think because of where we are and we're the chaser now, I think we've got to go and win games. Kieran Tierney's a better defender, but we need to win.
Mhm.
Does Kieran Tierney offer more than Zinchenko going forward? I don't think he does.
Don
I
Arsenal
think,
TV thinks Zinni doesn't even
yeah,
create
I
any
think,
chances. That's not true. That is so not true.
but it's
That's
not. But you see,
inaccurate.
it's not. Yeah, but it's not. What people must understand is, it's you have. It's how your passing patterns and how you dominate the middle of the pitch. What
Right.
counts? That's what's going to get you the opportunity to open teams up.
Right. Exactly.
That's why
Ex-
Zinchenko tends to play.
exactly. Right. Brilliant stuff. A nice Monday Madness show right there. That Kev, have I forgotten anything or anyone? Some of the listeners are like, come on, let's talk about Nelly. And I'm like, you know what? He had a good game. He was good, but he wasn't the star of the show yesterday. And what I love is that here we are we're actually debating man of the match, player of the match.
Yeah, there
Before
was.
it was
Listen,
like scraping the barrel, Kev.
well, one thing we do know, Sophie, to win at Newcastle, the team has to play well. And certain individuals maybe didn't have their best game, Soph, but you still have to work. That Newcastle side, you have to graft, you have to battle, you have to tough it out if you want to win. And that's what we done. I like seeing all the players coming in and pushing and shoving and all that as a team. I loved it because that's all part of the growing up. That is part of the
Yeah,
growing
I
up.
loved it. And I wanted to end on this note as well because that performance, you know, I love coming of age movies. There's a reason why I love them because there's this juxtaposition between innocence and growth, and where you leave a little of your past behind you. And there's so much nostalgia and wonder to naivety sometimes. But in that adversity, where you learn and you grow is really a beautiful thing. And people can come at me if they want, if you think I'm being overly romantic or whatever. This Arsenal team, we've been waiting for them to have this evolutionary moment. We're not quite ready to have that at Manchester City or against Manchester City. We're just not. But we've done it twice against Tottenham this year. We got 4 points against Liverpool this year. We beat Manchester United and should have beaten them at their gaff earlier on in the season. We have broken our own ducks. We've got players who are now stats wise up against some of the best in Europe. And Newcastle United have been lauded all season by everybody. They're the best defensive record. They're tough to break down. They're physical. Mentally, they'll grind you. And to go up at a place after a year of being humiliated and broken down by the emerging market team was an embarrassment to us, our players, and our manager. And the fact that we went back there and did what we did this year in the manner in which we did was just a beautiful thing to witness as a fan. And I think yesterday, Kevin, you're the player, you can tell me, but they proved, I think, to themselves, forget me and fans like me, they proved to themselves, you know what? We can do it mentally. We can stand up against a so-called, big team this season. We can stand up against, players that have been lauded like Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Ellington and Callum Wilson. And we can stand up to a player that, people think should be in goal for England. Those are our moments to overcome. And I think yesterday we took a massive step as a
Yeah,
club.
yeah,
Massive.
massive growth step. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
But
There's still a few more to come, but you're only going to get that when you fatten your squad, as we know, and then you can take on the big boss at the end, which is Man City.
yeah.
When you go through a game and you go through the game and you just get to the last level, and there's this big boss at the end, and you're like, how do I beat him? And he just absolutely blitz you, and then you've got to work out a strategy how to
Yeah.
take him out. That's what we've got to do. We
And you know
we
what,
we
Kev?
we go on.
I was not worried 1 second yesterday after the first 10 minutes. I literally had that feeling. I'm like, okay, I haven't felt this in 4 or 5 games. I actually feel like we're not going to lose this match. They're not going to come back.
We played well. We played a good game. We played well. After the first 10 minutes, we got our rhythm. We started to get a bit of rhythm. And they made it difficult for them to come and press us, because when they came, we played through them and we cut through them. So it was like, we don't keep pressing, because when you press and you keep, Martinelli gets in, Saka gets in, it's Ødegaard gets through that chance. So Botman and Shah are like, don't keep pressing, come and sit here, because they needed a bit of protection. Because Newcastle's way is to hunt you down. That suited Jorginho perfectly, because he'll just get the ball, play a ball at a nice angle through them, where their fullbacks couldn't get to Xhaka, and then Xhaka played one through to Saka. And if he goes low, he probably scores. But listen, we'll take the 2-0. Thank you very much.
We will.
Newcastle. And yeah, listen, what we do know, Sophie, is the ruthless summer is what we need. Yep. We are going to be in the Champions League, which is great. And this squad could do with some serious investment to get us to that next level. Because remember, Champions League in the week, got to perform again under weekend. That's, it's not going. Like Europa. This is, everyone wants to play in the Champions League. So
definitely. That's what we want. That's what we want. We want this competition. Okay, kids, there's over 330 of you in live chat. I want to know the like count, Chief Like Officer Tammy. I don't know if some of the boys are talking about 800 numbers, maybe from back in the day. Do you remember those?
Oh, geez. Club call.
Well, you were on the club line, though.
Club call.
They might be talking about the other 800 numbers. I don't know, but
hey, I don't get involved in all that. All I know is club call.
Well, it's Gunnar, us, Matty K, and some of the others. So yeah, listen,
I should have
guys,
known that lot would be involved.
It's been just brilliant. I love this show, and we love our team. And I just want to say, if you missed our match vlog pre-game antics with the Guns and Yellow Ribbers guys, there's lads. Dan and Fergus and Gunnar Hilsey, of course. Look at them looking handsome there, Super Kev, with their flag. They shared once again their pre-game rituals with us. I love this. We're going to do more of it next season. Please go check it out on our video section, the Guns and Yellow Ribbons guys, and give them a follow on Twitter as well. They are absolutely gold.
Top guys.
Yeah, we love them. We love them. Right. I'm not going to say anything. All I'm saying is that tomorrow is a big day at Squad Central. We have a very special something happening, which you guys will know about when the episode premieres in the coming days. But all I can say is be excited.
Be ready.
Listen, other than that, Super Kev, you're going to take us out. Highbury Squad will be coming at you live this week. Stay tuned to our Twitter and community pages, of course, to find out. By the way, I thought Kyle did a great job last week. Super Kyle, well done.
He'll be back later on. He did do a good job. His first one. Well done, Soph.
Yep,
nice to see you hold his hand.
Brilliant stuff. And please do check out the show with Tom as well. Kev, over to you. Take us out.
Right. Squaddies, there's one thing I'm going to say to you. Do you believe? That's the question. Do you believe something crazy could happen? Because you know what? We may need snookers, but crazy things happen in this football. Who would have thought Everton would go to Brighton and pop them 5-1? So, all I'm going to say to you is this. Make sure you believe. Raise your vibration. Just have love for the Arsenal. Don't worry about nobody else. Have your love for the Arsenal. Believe that Arsenal can do it. And you know what? As long as we keep winning, let's see where the chips fall. Let's see where they fall. Because we're hoping Everton got a great result this week. We're hoping Everton could do something just to help us out a little bit next week. but we still have to take care of business. That's the name of the game. So, squaddies, we love you. Me and this young lady here, we love you. Lots of love to your family. Always make sure you reach out to somebody who you've not reached out to in a long time, even just to say hello, put a smile on their face. And you know what? Condolences to is it Robert Seagal?
Yes, Robert.
His friend who lost a loved one. Everybody, look after yourself. Take good care. And we righted some wrongs this weekend, sorting Newcastle out. At ease, squaddies. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.